Hi friends, good morning. So in today's session Swaminath sir ತಗೋತಾರೆ. So ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಎಲ್ರಿಗೂ ಸ್ವಾಮಿನಾಥ್ ಸರ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಆಲ್ರೆಡಿ ಗೊತ್ತಿದೆ. ಸೊ ತುಂಬಾ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನಾನ್ ಕೇಳಿರಂಗೆ ತುಂಬಾ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ತುಂಬಾ ಹೆಸರಿದೆ ಅವ್ರದ್ದು. ಸೊ ನಾನು ಇವಾಗ ನೋಡಿ ಶಾಕ್ ಆದೆ. ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಆಲ್ ನಾನೇನ್ ಅನ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದೆ, ನಾನು ಇವತ್ತೇ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಟೈಮ್ ಮೀಟ್ ಆಗಿದ್ದು. ಟು ಬಿ ಫ್ರಾಂಕ್ ಆಗಿ ಹೇಳ್ತೀನಿ, ಎಷ್ಟೋ ಜನ ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಲೈಕ್ ಫ್ಯಾಕಲ್ಟೀಸ್ ಬಂದು ಅಪ್ರೋಚ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು, ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನಮ್ ಪೋಸ್ಟರ್ಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ನೋಡಿ ನಾವು ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ ಅಂತ. ಆಮೇಲೆ ಹೀಗೆ ಮಾತಾಡ್ತಾ ಈ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ ನ ಸ್ವಾಮಿನಾಥ್ ಸರ್ ತಗೋತಾರೆ ಅಂದಿದ್ದಕ್ಕೆ, ಸರ್ ನಾವು ಅವ್ರ ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಅಂದ ತಕ್ಷಣ ನಾನೇನ್ ಅನ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದೆ, ಸ್ವಾಮಿನಾಥ್ ಸರ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಲೈಕ್ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಏಜ್ಡ್ ಪರ್ಸನ್ ಇರ್ತಾರೆ ಅನ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದೆ. ಬಟ್ ಇಷ್ಟು ಸಣ್ಣ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಲೈಕ್ ತುಂಬಾ ಯಂಗ್ ಆಗಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಇಷ್ಟೊಂದು ನೇಮ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ರಿಯಲಿ ಶಾಕ್ ಆಗಿದ್ದೀನಿ. ಸೊ ಇವತ್ತಿನ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ನ ಎಂಜಾಯ್ ಮಾಡಿ. ಸರ್ ವೆಲ್ಕಮ್ ಟು ಕ್ರಿಯೇಟಿವ್ ಐಎಎಸ್ ಅಕಾಡೆಮಿ ಸರ್.
ಓಕೆನಾ? ಹಾಂ, ರೈಟ್. Okay. But somebody will be there or I have to observe? Naan observe ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾ? Okay. I'll see. Right. ಇದು PPT ಎಲ್ಲಿದೆ? ಇಲ್ಲಿದೆಯಾ? Okay. Right. Okay. Right. So I can use note ala. Okay, fine. Okay. Very good morning. ಎಲ್ರಿಗೂ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ. I think ನಾನು ನನ್ನ ಪರಿಚಯ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಬೇಕು, so that you people get to know what exactly I am. Basically, I'm an assistant professor now, so got recruited to government services in the year 2017. So just like you, even I had prepared for SAAD and I cleared mains also. But mains exam bariyak hodaga assistant professors already clear ಆಗಿರೋದ್ರಿಂದ I thought my profession is of assistant professor, so let me go with that only. So I thought like that. ಅದರಲ್ಲೇ ಕಂಟಿನ್ಯೂ ಆದೆ. ಇವಾಗ 7 ವರ್ಷ ಸರ್ವಿಸ್ ಆಗಿದೆ. And currently I'm a special officer for government of Karnataka for State Education Policy Commission. I think ನಿಮ್ಗೆಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಗೊತ್ತಿದೆ ಅನ್ಸುತ್ತೆ, NEP ಅಂತ. So Congress government has started with something called SCP. So ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಕೋಆರ್ಡಿನೇಟರ್ ಆಗಿದ್ದೀನಿ. And my passion is always towards teaching. ಈಗ ನನಗೆ ಡೆಪ್ಯೂಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ for the purpose of official work. So official work ಜೊತೆಗೆ teaching also is my passion. So that's why I'm continuing. So basically speaking, my area is on finance. So anything with reference to finance, I can be in a position to brief you out, but I'm not an expert. I only know things in such a way that I can be in a position to put across things in a simple way, so that you people can understand it in a better way. Is it okay? So SAAD exams ನೀವೆಲ್ಲರೂ ಕ್ವಾಲಿಫೈ ಆಗಿದ್ದೀರಾ ಅಲ್ವಾ? ಪ್ರಿಲಿಮ್ಸ್ ಕ್ವಾಲಿಫೈ ಆಗಿದ್ದೀರಾ? ರಿಸಲ್ಟ್ಸ್ ಬಂದಿಲ್ಲ. ಓಕೆ, ಫೈನ್. ಸೊ ಕ್ವಾಲಿಫೈ ಆಗಿದ್ದೀರಿ ಅಂತ ಅನ್ಕೊಂಬಿಡಿ ಈಗ, ಆಯ್ತಾ? ಸೊ ಕ್ವಾಲಿಫೈ ಆದ್ರೆ ಮೇನ್ಸ್ ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ರೆಡಿ ಆಗಬೇಕು, that too with reference to descriptive. So how do we need to get ready? So that is what I am today, in terms of like describing how exactly finance concepts can be written. Okay, is it fine? So only thing which you have to do is you have to be elaborative in terms of explaining things or asking doubts at any point of time. Yavade doubt idru, yavade query idru, at any point of time, please do let me know. So even for online also, I mean, I'm not sure whether I'm visible or not, but still I just say, in case if you have any doubts, please do let me know. Because ನಾನು ಯಾವುದೇ ಕಾರಣಕ್ಕೂ ಅಷ್ಟೇ, I mean, ಈ ಸ್ಟೇಜ್ ಸೆಂಟ್ರಿಕ್ ಅಲ್ಲ, ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ ಸೆಂಟ್ರಿಕ್. ಮೋರ್ ಓವರ್ ನಾನು ಅಲ್ಲಿ ವಾಕ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇರ್ತೀನಿ. ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಲೈಕ್ ದಟ್. I'll try my best to be stand over here. Okay, fine. So we'll go to what exactly which I wanted to teach. Okay, my educational qualifications are this. ಇಷ್ಟೇ ಓದಿರೋದು ನಾನು, ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಓದಿಲ್ಲ. Okay, I have to use the pen only. Okay, right. Is it visible to all of you? The first part which I take for the day is considered to be on finance. With reference to your concept, financial management and analysis, these are the concepts that are required to be taught on the day. But within a day, it is quite impossible to teach all this. So what I do is, we'll take number of classes and we'll try to solve problems also. Because right now, for the day, what I do is I'll go with certain concepts on finance and also problems which are there in question paper. We'll discuss those problems also today. Is it fine? Okay. So basically speaking, this is not structured. First of all, let me tell you, the syllabus is not structured. They have just picked and they have given the syllabus, but the structuring of syllabus goes in different ways, which I'm going to teach you. And whenever I say something, you should make sure that you will going to follow two things, very important. When I say certain policy or certain matter, you should make sure that first you will going to write things in 1,000 words. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನಾನು ಯಾವ್ದಾರ ಒಂದು ಕಾನ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಹೇಳಿದೆ, ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ಫೈನಾನ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಫೈನಾನ್ಸ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ನೀವು ಬರಿಬೇಕಾಗಿರೋದು ಎಷ್ಟು ವರ್ಡ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ? 1,000 words. Later rephrase it to 500. Okay, later rephrase it to 300. Again at the end rephrase it to 100. This is what you have to learn. So whenever I say any concept for that matter, first and the foremost thing is make it a count that you will going to write it in 1,000 words. How to write in 1,000 words? Get the opinions from everywhere. Example like or Google or whatever you say, even in YouTube also, refer videos or whatever you want, you can refer it. So make a note in such a way that it will be of 1,000 words. Later 500 to 300, 300 to 100. Now what is the use? Question paper ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ಕ್ವೆಶ್ಚನ್ಸ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ ನೋಡಿದಿರಲ್ಲ? Within 400 words, within 500 words or within 600 words. You can ask a question, sir, 1,000 words ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬರೆದ್ರೆ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, but the first criteria is you have to restrict yourself within 300 to 400 words only, which you are not qualified. ಅದರಲ್ಲೇ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗೋಗುತ್ತೆ ನೀವು ಒಂದು ಅಸಂಪ್ಷನ್ ಬಂದ್ಬಿಡುತ್ತೆ, ಏನೋ ಸ್ಟೋರಿ ಬರ್ದಿರ್ತೀರಾ ಅಂತ. ಅದಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರನೇ you make sure that you will going to write within the words only. 5% plus or minus is fine. Example 400 words ಅಂತ ಕೇಳಿದ್ರೆ 400 ಗೆ 5% ಎಷ್ಟು? 20. So 420 or 380, that is fine, but you cannot go beyond that. So ಅದಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರನೇ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ವರ್ಡ್ಸ್ ನ ರಿಸ್ಟ್ರಿಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿರ್ತಾರೆ. So any concept if I say, start making notes now only in terms of writing in 1,000, 1,000 to 500, 500 to 300, 300 to 100. Is it clear? Second thing, ಈ ಎಲ್ಲಾ ಕಾನ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್ ನ ನಾನು ಓವರ್ ಎ ಪೀರಿಯಡ್ ಆಫ್ ಟೈಮ್ ಐ ಗೋನಾ ಟೀಚ್ ಯು. ಅಟ್ ದಿ ಎಂಡ್ ಯು ವಿಲ್ ಗೆಟ್ ಟು ನೋ ದ ಲಿಂಕ್ ವಾಟ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಕ್ಟ್ಲಿ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್. ಬಟ್ ಬೇಸಿಕಲಿ ಸ್ಪೀಕಿಂಗ್, ಫ್ರಮ್ ದ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ವಿ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಅಂಡ್ ವಿ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಮೇಕ್ ಶೋರ್ ದಟ್ ಯು ವಿಲ್ ಗೆಟ್ ಲಿಂಕ್ ಟು ಈಚ್ ಅದರ್. ಏನೇನ್ ಕಾನ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಕೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಅದೆಲ್ಲದಕ್ಕೂ ಲಿಂಕ್ ನಿಮಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿರೋ ಹಾಗೆ ಇರಬೇಕಾಗತ್ತೆ. ಓಕೆನಾ? ಸೊ ಹ್ಯಾವಿಂಗ್ ಸೆಡ್ ದಟ್, ದೀಸ್ ಆರ್ ದ ಥಿಂಗ್ಸ್ ದಟ್ ವಿ ಲರ್ನ್ ಫಾರ್ ದ ಡೇ. ಓಕೆನಾ? ಹಿಯರ್ ಐ ವಿಲ್ ನಾಟ್ ಗೋಯಿಂಗ್ ಟು ಟಾಕ್ ಅಬೌಟ್ ಥಿಂಗ್ಸ್ ಮೋರ್. I'll gonna talk things on the basis of your answers or your assumptions or your presumptions. Okay na? First of all, first point enide? Okay, you should be talkative. Meaning of? Okay, finance andre nin prakara enu? Any silly answer is fine, even wrong answer is also fine. Okay, a livelihood or lifeblood of a business, fine. Apart from that, monetary resources, okay. Managing money, okay. You all are gone into books and all, but for me finance is just a money, that's all. Okay, finance means what? It is just a money. Now the thing is, how you manage with the help of whatever the sources which you have, that is what is financial management. Okay, so finance is only a money. Financial management is what? How best you can be in a position to manage the finance. Now, whenever we talk about management of finance or finance, as you said, we say acquiring of finance, utilization of finance, management of finance. What and all? Acquiring of finance, utilization of finance, and management of finance, to the best possible extent to create a wealth for shareholders. Okay, so wealth for shareholders. Why we say shareholders? Because they are the real owners of the company. Now, we will not go in depth with reference to finance. It is your job that you have to identify words of 1,000 for finance. Meaning of finance na hudki yararo bereyaru enen helirtaro adnella tagoli, ella 1,000 words ಮಾಡಿ. Then you can use something called Quillbot. So Quillbot ಗೊತ್ತಿದೆ ಅನ್ಸುತ್ತೆ, paraphrasing tool ಇದೆ. If you are unable to do it, you can put those in Quillbot and it will rephrase and it will gonna give you. So ನಾನು ಆಗ್ಲೇ ಹೇಳ್ದಂಗೆ 1,000, 500, 300, 100. So what do you mean by finance ಅನ್ನೋದಕ್ಕೆ ನೀವು ಈಗಲೇ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಇರಬೇಕು. ಕ್ಲಿಯರಾ? Now, When it comes to finance, basically there are two types: public finance as well as private finance. First of all, public andre enu nim prakara? Government undertaking are considered to be, even you are considered to be a public, but individually you are different. Correct? So public finance we have as well as private finance we have. But basically speaking, when we classify, we say public entities as well as private entities. So when we say public entities, it not only includes government in the form of local government, central government, quasi or semi-government, or whatever you call. Everything put together, we call it as public entities which requires finance. Now, let me question you, how exactly they manage finance? Government heng manage ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ finance na? They collect what? Taxes in the form of direct and indirect. They collect in the form of direct and indirect. Whatever the receipts which they get, they use it for the purpose of planning. This is what is the basic or the simple thing to understand with reference to government entity. Now, what about private? Example like Infosys. How they collect money? Shares. By issuing shares or by issuing bonds, debentures, likewise. Okay. So all short-term as well as long-term sources will be taken into consideration when they are going for, getting a finance. Is it okay? Understood? So public finance as well as private finance. Now for you, questions might be like this: public finance versus private finance. Elaborate. Getting my point? Within 300 words, elaborate. Public finance versus private finance. Or I can say public finance is more crucial than that of private finance. Give your answer within 300 words. So if that is the case, you should start writing it. You're getting my point? The headings, I'm going to give it to you. You people have to start writing on it. Right? Now, here I have something called corporate finance. Now my question to you is private finance and corporate finance both are same or different? It is almost same. So corporate finance is more of like companies. Companies normally work for the purpose of profit. In turn, they wanted to create a wealth. So basically speaking, they also collect money in the form of by issuing either long-term sources or through short-term sources. Okay. Next. Now, why finance is important for a company or for a public or for an individual? That is what we have to understand now. Now, why do we require finance? To run the business? To manage day-to-day activities? To survive? Okay. Next. To take up new projects? To development? Okay, to develop something, maybe with reference to company for that matter. To purchase assets? To make profit? To generate profit? Expansion of business? Okay, I think around 7 to 8 points I got. Right? Now, illu matra helbodu. But exam nalli gnapaka barala. Enik gnapaka barala anta helidre, we forget to take or we forget to make a notes. So sadly main ಬೇಕಾಗಿರೋದು ಏನು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ, whenever you discuss any points like this, make a note somewhere, start writing on it. That is what people have to do it. Anyways, recorded sessions will be there for you, so you can use it. But the thing is, whenever you say something, please make a note somewhere, so that when you start writing, it will have a kind of a habit which will going to develop and which will make you to write things in a better way. Okay. Now, when it comes to importance of finance, I think I forecast in such a way that they're gonna ask you a question saying like, finance is the lifeblood of an organization or a corporate finance or a corporate entity. Give your opinion. Okay. So finance is the lifeblood of a organization or considered to be a company. So give your opinion whether it is right or wrong. So they might gonna ask a question like that. If that is the case, what you have to write? You have to write the importance of finance. Okay. Next. Functions of finance, we have acquiring, utilizing, increasing profitability and maximization of wealth. Now, my question here is profit maximization and wealth maximization. We have two things, right? I think most of you are already done with this concept. Now, let me know which one is important. Wealth maximization. Profit is not important. Assume like you got a question, profit maximization and versus wealth maximization. Which one is important for company? What you will write? How many of you say wealth maximization is important? 1, 2, 3. Okay. Who will say profit? Nobody? There is no question called both. Either it should be profit maximization or wealth maximization. When there is a wealth, there will be a profit. Okay, yeah, take it. But let me correct you later. Then what else? Wealth maximization through profit maximization. Okay, yes, ma'am. Okay, another perspective. Okay, now let me ask you the simple question of a balance sheet. Okay, what is balance sheet equation? Assets equal to? If you say assets equal to liability, you are wrong. Assets equal to liability plus capital. Okay, now second question to you. Will the asset comes first or liability comes first? Sure. Capital comes first, not liability. That is why things goes wrong here. Now let me tell you what exactly the difference between liability as well as capital. Whenever you introduce your funds to the business, will you call that as liability? It is a capital. So always it is the capital which comes into picture first. Later, when you are having a shortage of funds, when you don't have funds, you borrow. When you borrow, it is called as what? Liability. That is why we say assets equal to liabilities plus capital. Okay. Now, going back to the point which I told you, profit maximization as well as wealth maximization. Now, you have introduced your funds, correct? Business started. Business will make wealth directly or it will make profit. You started a business. Now the business is running. Sales are running. Will it make profit or wealth? So, initially, it is a profit. So, through profit, when you do something called reinvestment, or when you use the finance in an effective way, it creates something called wealth. And the wealth is, when the wealth is stabilized, wealth in turn increases the profit. Getting my point? Wealth in turn increases the profit. To understand this in a better way, let me give an example of a house. You are living in a house now which is of own. Okay? So, ನೀವು ಯಾವುದೋ ಒಂದು ಕಂಪನಿಗೆ ಜಾಯಿನ್ ಆಗ್ತೀರಾ, you are earning a salary. What you do? You invest certain amount of money on certain things and you save. Through savings, ನೀವೇನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಾ ಈಗ? ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಫ್ಲೋರ್ ಕನ್ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಾ ಅನ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. ಆಯ್ತಾ? ಯಾವ್ದ್ರಿಂದ ಕನ್ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ ನೀವು? ಸೇವಿಂಗ್ಸ್ ಇಂದಾನೆ. ಟೇಕ್ ದಟ್ ಆಸ್ ಅ ಪ್ರಾಫಿಟ್. ಈ ಪ್ರಾಫಿಟ್ ಇಂದ ಏನ್ ಕನ್ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದಿರಾ? ವೆಲ್ತ್. ದಟ್ ಇಸ್ ವಾಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಫ್ಲೋರ್. ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಫ್ಲೋರ್ ನ ಬಾಡಿಗೆ ಕೊಡ್ತೀರಾ. ಬಾಡಿಗೆ ಕೊಟ್ಟಾದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಬಾಡಿಗೆ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಆ ಬಾಡಿಗೆ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಈಗ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್? ಇದೇ ಸೇವಿಂಗ್ಸ್ ಗೆ ಆಡ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಹೋಗುತ್ತೆ. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ವೆಲ್ತ್ ಏನಾಯ್ತು ಈಗ? ಪ್ರಾಫಿಟ್ ನ ಜನರೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಕ್ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಆಯ್ತು. ಹೌ ವೆಲ್ತ್ ಹ್ಯಾಸ್ ಕ್ರಿಯೇಟೆಡ್? ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಅ ಪ್ರಾಫಿಟ್. Now let me ask you a question. Profit is important or wealth is important? So, ಇದನ್ನೇ ಹೇಳೋದು. Now when we say like that, profit versus wealth ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದಾಗ, both of them are considered to be correct. Profit is also important, wealth is also important, but profit is important on short term basis, wealth is important on long term basis. That is what you have to write. Clear? So that is why these kinds of questions always we go in one side, saying like, okay, bari profit matra important, bari wealth matra important anta. No, it is not like that. Profit is important in the short term to create something called wealth in the future, and the wealth has to what? Contribute profit again, so that your wealth will multiply and triple or whatever you call it as. Is it okay? Understood? Okay, next. Okay, long-term finance as well as short-term finance. Okay, if I have something here. Okay, so I think most of them are replying. So sorry, I'll just try to check the doubts if you have any. So long-term finance as well as short-term finance. This is quite important from the company point of view and also from individualistic point of view. Let me give you the different types of sources. You can note down somewhere and you can start writing on it later. Okay. So when you say long-term sources, we have shares, debentures, bonds, plugging back of profits. You can write somewhere. Shares, debentures, bonds, plugging back of profits. Okay. shares, debentures, bonds, plugging back of profits. Okay, so shares, debentures, bonds, I need not have to explain because you know it. But there is something called plugging back of profits, which is quite crucial for any company. Now, let me ask you how exactly it can be calculated or it can come through. Okay. Now, what is the first account that we prepare in case of a company? First account, ledger accounts. Ledger accounts through what we prepare? Trial balance. Okay. Through trial balance, what we do? Appropriation directly. Trading account. Through trading account, what is the closing balance which you get? Gross profit or gross loss. Sure. Next, when it comes to profit account, I mean profit and loss account, net profit or net loss. What is the next account which you prepare? Sure. Profit and loss appropriation. What is appropriation? What do you mean by that? You appropriate whatever the profits which are available on different sources. Those sources may be distribution of dividend, keeping certain amount of money within us. That is what we call plugging back of profits. Getting my point? Plugging back of profits, in the sense keeping certain amount of money as reserves, and we use that reserves for the purpose of expansion, diversification, or whatever you call rejuvenation, anything for that matter. So when it comes to company point of view, we use our own resources by appropriation. That is what we call plugging back of profits. Now, what is the advantage of this? There is no liability. Okay, fine. Now, what's the difference between plugging back of profits and debt? It's an external source. You have to pay back through in the form of interest. That means you are indebted to pay certain amount of money as interest. But when it comes to your own money, you need not have to pay. But it always depends on the type of risk which you take. If the risk is too much, whatever the plugging back of profits which you have hold it for a longer period of time may go in vain. In the sense, it may go lost. So what we have to do, we have to make sure that we are going to keep our mind very crucial in terms of identifying the appropriate opportunity that we discuss in capital budgeting. Right now, we will not going to discuss that. So plugging back of profits means what? Keeping certain amount of money, whatever the profits that the business has generated over a period of time within us, and investing the same thing on diversification, expansion, or rejuvenation, whatever you call in terms of company point of view. Is it okay? This is from long-term point of view. From short-term point of view, we have something called overdraft. What is overdraft? To which account we give? To which account we give? Current account. It is normally for current account. We provide something called overdraft facility. Yes, it is only for a shorter period of time. Now, let me tell you, shorter period of time in the sense it is from 1 day to 364 days, not 365. 1 day to 364 days, we call it as short term. Now, to give a few, what and all short term securities we have, normally speaking, companies will have overdraft facility. Apart from that, they have something called cash credits, CC. We call it as cash credits. But when it comes to short term securities, we have treasury bills, commercial papers, certificate of deposits, money at call and short notice, participatory notes. Yes, there are so many bills, discounting. Likewise, if you type short-term finances for company, you will get a list. So take that list, start writing on it. Is it okay? So short-term finance as well as long-term finance. The questions can be on like this. When it comes to short-term finance or long-term finance, which one is feasible for a company? Which one is feasible for a company? Now, when they ask a question like this, what will be your answer? So that is why, just like others, don't jump into conclusion. ಈಗ ನಾನು 2 ಆಪ್ಷನ್ ಕೊಟ್ರೆ ಯಾವ್ದಾರ ಒಂದು ಚೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತಾನೆ ಮಾಡಕ್ ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಡಿ. Please try to think on it. Short term finance is important or long term finance is important andre, you cannot say short term finance is important, nor you can say long term finance is important. It is always depends on the type of business or activity which you wanted to carry out, so that you can utilize the finance in a better way. So you have to justify saying like it depends on the company's objective, company's scope of business, and company's policies. Likewise, you can write number of factors to it. Is it okay? Are you able to understand? ಗೊತ್ತಾಗ್ತಿದ್ಯಾ? Okay. In case ಎಲ್ಲಾದರೂ doubts ಬಂದ್ರೆ ಕೇಳಿ. Next, okay. So objectives of finance, we discussed profit or wealth. We discussed in detail. So ಅದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ನಾನು ಮತ್ತೆ ಹೇಳಕ್ ಹೋಗಲ್ಲ. Okay. So yes, they are also answering. It is both. Very good. So I'll go for next one. Capital structure, finance, asset, and capital structure. Sorry. Yeah. So when we talk about finance, as we said, we have different types or sources of finances, correct? Long-term finance as well as short-term finance. Now, we are trying to get the finance into the company. ನಾನು ಆಗಲೇ ಬ್ಯಾಲೆನ್ಸ್ ಶೀಟ್ ಇಕ್ವೇಶನ್ ಕೇಳಿದೆ. ಬ್ಯಾಲೆನ್ಸ್ ಶೀಟ್ ಇಕ್ವೇಶನ್ ಏನು ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ, ಅಸೆಟ್ಸ್ ಈಕ್ವಲ್ ಟು ಲಯಬಿಲಿಟಿ ಪ್ಲಸ್ ಕ್ಯಾಪಿಟಲ್. ನಾವು ಅಸೆಟ್ ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಚರ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು ಅಂತ ಕೇಳಬಹುದು. ವಾಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಅಸೆಟ್ ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಚರ್ ಅಂತ. ಸೊ ಇಫ್ ದಟ್ ಇಸ್ ದ ಕೇಸ್, ವಾಟ್ ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಸೇ, it's a combination of no long term, no short term. Now it is no fixed assets, no current assets. It is now tangible and intangible assets. ಆಯ್ತಾ? ಕಂಪನೀಸ್ ಆಕ್ಟ್ ಹೊಸದಾಗಿ ಬಂದಿದೆಯಲ್ಲ, ಅದು ಕ್ಲಾಸಿಫೈ ಮಾಡಿರೋದು ಈಗ ಟ್ಯಾಂಜಿಬಲ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಇಂಟ್ಯಾಂಜಿಬಲ್ ಅಸೆಟ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ. ನೀವು ಲಾಂಗ್ ಟರ್ಮು, ಶಾರ್ಟ್ ಟರ್ಮು, ಕರೆಂಟ್ ಅಸೆಟ್ಸ್, ಫಿಕ್ಸ್ಡ್ ಅಸೆಟ್ಸ್ ಅದೆಲ್ಲ ಹೋಯ್ತು. ಆಯ್ತಾ? ಸೊ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇರೋದು, ಪ್ಲೀಸ್ ಮೇಕ್ ಶೋರ್ ದಟ್ whenever we discuss certain points, you go in depth. So identify certain things which are not at all there so that you people can get it. So tangible and intangible. What is tangible means? Visible. So this is visible. Aita? Structure is visible. And the teacher is also visible. But you cannot call me as a... No? You can call. Human resources are also considered as an asset now. So human resources are also considered as asset. Right? So now, asset structure we discussed tangible and intangible. Sorry. What is liability structure? Ali tangible, intangible varala. Borrowed funds, own funds and borrowed funds. So here own funds will come into picture, but it comes to capital. Borrowed funds matra navil tagoltivi. Borrowed funds ali again, when it comes to borrowed funds, we have short term borrowings as well as long term borrowings. So short term borrowings andre ಏನಂತ ಹೇಳಿದೆ ನಿಮಗೆ ನಾನು, 1 to 364 days. Long term borrowings andre more than a year will be considered as long term borrowing. We don't have something called medium term borrowing. ಅದು book ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾತ್ರ ಇರೋದು 1 to 5 years ಅಂತ. We have short term as well as long term. Those two are considered to be the crucial things. Okay na? Now, one more called capital structure. Yeah, what is capital structure here? Composition of both long term as well as short term finances at the time of starting of a business. ಒಂದು ಡಿಫರೆನ್ಸ್ ನೀವು ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಬೇಕಾಗಿರೋದು, ಲಯಬಿಲಿಟಿ ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಚರ್ ಮತ್ತೆ ಕ್ಯಾಪಿಟಲ್ ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಚರ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ, ಕ್ಯಾಪಿಟಲ್ ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಚರ್ ಈಸ್ ಇಂಡ್ಯೂಸ್ಡ್ ಟು ದಿ ಕಂಪನಿ. ಐ ಮೀನ್ ಫೈನಾನ್ಸ್ ಈಸ್ ಇಂಡ್ಯೂಸ್ಡ್ ಟು ದ ಕಂಪನಿ ಅಟ್ ದಿ ಟೈಮ್ ಆಫ್ ಅ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನೀವು ಮೊದಲು ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಏನ್ ಹಾಕಿರ್ತೀರಲ್ಲ, ಆ ದುಡ್ಡನ್ನು ನಾವು ಕ್ಯಾಪಿಟಲ್ ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಚರ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ತೋರಿಸ್ತೀವಿ. ಲೇಟರ್ ಅಡಿಷನಲ್ ಫೈನಾನ್ಸಸ್ ಏನ್ ತಗೊಳ್ತೀರಾ, ದೋಸ್ ಅಡಿಷನಲ್ ಫೈನಾನ್ಸಸ್ ಕಮ್ಸ್ ಅಂಡರ್ ವಾಟ್? ಲಯಬಿಲಿಟಿ ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಚರ್. So capital structure is a composition of both long term as well as short term sources, but preferably we say it as long term sources only. Adradu pattern nanige onnondagi discuss ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಹೋಗ್ತೀನಿ. Okay na? Now there are different types of patterns with reference to capital structure. Can you see this? Capital structure with equity shares, capital structure with both equity shares, capital structure with both equity shares and preference shares. Book ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಿಮಗೆ ಇನ್ನೂ preference shares ಇದೆ, but other reality li preference shares ಇಲ್ಲ. So capital structure with equity shares and debentures, capital structure with all shares, preference shares and debentures. We can take bonds also, we can take loans also. Anything we want, we can take it. Now my question to you is, share capital is good. I mean, not share capital. I'll put across like this. Is own funds are considered to be better than borrowed funds, or borrowed funds are better than own funds? ಯಾವ್ದಾರ ಒಂದು ಚೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಯಾವ್ದು ಚೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಾ ನೀವು? ಅದನ್ನ borrowed funds are better. Okay, whenever you choose anything, again I am telling you, it depends on, yes. Assume like you are the businessman. Okay na, you wanted to start something called food business. ಈಗ ನಾರ್ಮಲಿ ಎಲ್ಲಾ ಕಡೆ ಓಡ್ತಾರದೇನೋ ಫುಡ್ ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್, ಎಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡಿದ್ರು ಯಾವ್ದೊಂದು ಬಿರಿಯಾನಿ ಶಾಪ್ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿರ್ತಾರೆ. ಸೊ ದೇ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಸಮ್ ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್ ವಿತ್ ರೆಫರೆನ್ಸ್ ಟು ಫುಡ್. ನಾವು ಇಫ್ ಐ ಆಸ್ಕ್ ಯು, ನೀವು ಫುಡ್ ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಅನ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ, ಇಫ್ ಐ ಆಸ್ಕ್ ಯು, will you gonna get your funds and get invested, or will you borrow funds from someone and invest? ಇದ್ರೆ ಓನ್ ಫಂಡ್ಸ್ ಹಾಕ್ತಿವಿ, ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಬಾರೋ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. ದಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಆಕ್ಚುಲಿ ರೈಟ್. ಸೊ ಇದ್ರೆ ಹಾಕ್ತಿವಿ, ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಈಗ ನನ್ನ ಕ್ವಶನ್, ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ಕ್ವಶನ್, ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಅನ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ, ಈಗೇನ್ ಮಾಡಿದಿರಾ? ಬಾರೋ ಮಾಡಿದಿರಾ. ಈಗ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಟೈಪ್ ಆಫ್ ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್ ಏನು? ಫುಡ್ ಇಂಡಸ್ಟ್ರಿ. Do you think like food industry will sustain and run for a longer period of time? Now, let me ask you again. Food business ಅಲ್ಲಿ profit margin ಎಷ್ಟಿರಬಹುದು? Around 50%. Because normally speaking, whenever we talk about food industry, so when they prepare food, ಸೊ ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ 50% ಮಾತ್ರ ಚಾರ್ಜಸ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಇನ್ 50% ಪ್ರಾಫಿಟ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ನಮ್ಮ ಮೈ ಕ್ವಶನ್ ಟು ಯು ಈಸ್, ನೀವು ಇನ್ ಕೇಸ್ ಏನಾದ್ರೂ ನಿಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿ ಫಂಡ್ಸ್ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ, ಇಫ್ ಯು ಗೋ ಫಾರ್ ಓನ್ ಫಂಡ್ಸ್ ಫಾರ್ ದಟ್ ಮ್ಯಾಟರ್, ವಾಟ್ ಎವರ್ ದ ರಿಟರ್ನ್ಸ್ ವಿಚ್ ಯು ಆರ್ ಗೆಟಿಂಗ್, ವಿಲ್ ಇಟ್ ಬಿ ಸಫಿಶಿಯಂಟ್ ಟು ಪೇ ದ ಲೋನ್ ಆರ್ ನಾಟ್? ಅದು ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಕ್ವಶನ್. ಈಗ ನಾನು 10 ಲಕ್ಷ ಲೋನ್ ತಗೊಂಡಿದ್ದೀನಿ, ಹಾಕಿರೋದು ನೋಡಿದ್ರೆ ಯಾವ್ದೋ ನಾರ್ಮಲ್ ಕಾರ್ಟ್, ಬಟ್ ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್ ನೋಡಿದ್ರೆ ಒಂದು 5 ಸ್ಟಾರ್ ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ ಅನ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ, ಅವಾಗ ಐ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಪೇ ದಿ ಮನಿ ವೆರಿ ಈಸಿಲಿ. ಓಕೆನಾ? ಆದ್ರೆ 10 ಲಕ್ಷ ಇನ್ವೆಸ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ದೊಡ್ಡ 5 ಸ್ಟಾರ್ ತರ ಹೋಟೆಲ್ ಮಾಡಿದೀನಿ, ಬಟ್ 1 or 2 customers are coming. What to do? Will it be okay if I borrow funds at that point of time? No. So again, assume like ಅವ್ರ ಹತ್ರ funds ಇದೆ, they have a funds, they have invested so much of money on 5-star hotel. Now the customers are not coming. What will gonna happen? My hard earned money will go off. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅರ್ಥ ಏನಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ, we must make sure that we gonna use something called an optimum capital structure, which is a combination of own funds as well as loan funds. It is a combination of both own funds as well as loan funds. But certain times it so happens that there are concepts called leverage buyouts. Leverage buyouts anta concept barutte. Andre make money by using others' money. So we will not invest our money only. We borrow money from the banks. We use that money in order to generate a profit. Later, through profits, whatever the money which we borrowed, so we pay it off and we enjoy the money. Where in which we have never invested our money and we made our money. Andre artha enu anta helidre, it is completely making money by using others' money. But it all depends on the type of business which you invest. In case business enara flourish adre, you get a profit. In case business flourish aglilla andre, you will be in deep trouble, in loss. So your job right now will be on all these patterns, which one is better anta ಹೇಳುವಂತದ್ದು. ಓಕೆನಾ? ಅದನ್ನ what they have done is, in question paper they have asked a problems. ಆ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ಸ್ ನಾನು ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ತೋರಿಸ್ತೀನಿ. So those problems were given in terms of analyzing which pattern is better. Whether if I go by equity shares, is it good? If I go by preference shares, is it good? Or if I go by debentures or bonds, is it good? Which one is good anta ಕೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ. So we'll discuss that through problems. Is it okay? Now, assume like after discussing all patterns, still we have 2 more problems to discuss. One is over capitalization, another one is under capitalization. What is over capitalization? Over capitalization, simple ಆಗಿ ಹೇಳಿ. First of all, we borrowed excess funds. ಆಯ್ತಾ? We borrowed excess funds. That is what is called as over capitalization. And second one is what? We borrowed less money. Okay na? Now, do you think like both of them are considered to be good? No. So we have to go for something called optimum, which I given there, which we already discussed. Now, the thing is, certain companies will go for over capitalization. Certain companies can also go for under capitalization. If that is the case, as a financial accountant or as a financial advisor, what you have to do, you have to suggest some measures in order to come out of over capitalization to optimum or under capitalization to optimum. So your questions can be, company A company A is overcapitalized. As a financial advisor, suggest the measures to come over from overcapitalization to optimum capitalization. So, ಈ ತರ ಕ್ವಶನ್ ಕೇಳಿದಾಗ you have to start writing. ಅಂದ್ರೆ what are all the causes because of overcapitalization? What are all the causes because of undercapitalization? How it affects the business? ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ನಿಮಗೆ ನನ್ನ ಹತ್ರ ನೋಟ್ಸ್ ಇದೆ ಆಕ್ಚುಲಿ. It's in my website, so you can download it from there. I'm going to give at the end. You can go with different types of arguments I've explained there, so you can go with those in detail. Is it okay? Okay. Next. Yeah. So we have to go with problem now, income statement. But before that, I'm trying to link again. We started with finance, correct? Financially, we discussed different types of finance. What are all basically? Public finance as well as private finance. So after discussing public finance as well as private finance, we also got to know why finance is important. Okay. Then we said there are different types of functions with reference to finance: acquiring, utilizing, managing, and also ultimately you have to create a wealth, right? Next. So through that, we also discussed what are all the different types of finances we have: short-term finance as well as long-term finance, different types in detail. Next, when it comes to finance, there are two basic objectives. One is profit, another one is wealth. Which one is important, which one is not important, we discussed. Next, we have gone to capital structure. In that, you have three structures. One is asset, second one liability, and third one is capital structure, which we have to discuss again in the form of a problem. There are different types of patterns, so patterns are discussed. Finally, we got to know there are two problems. What are all? Overcapitalization as well as undercapitalization, and we have to move towards what? Optimum capitalization. And finally, there is something called income statement. Now, let me link that. You bought finance, you bought assets, business is running, correct? So once the financial year is over, what we have to prepare? We have to prepare something called statements, right? We prepare balance sheet and all, profit and loss account and all those. And we also have to prepare something called income statement. Now, who are they considered to be the ultimate owners of the company? What we have to distribute to them? Dividends. On what basis we give? Profits. We call it as earnings per share. So through that, we say like, so and so company, you have invested so much of money, your earning capacity is so much, and we take the same thing into meetings and we declare certain amount of money as dividend, we give it to them. Now, in order to say EPS, we require certain inputs. Those inputs comes under something called income statement. Okay. So now what we do is we start with income statement now, then we go with the problems so that you people can get a hold on it. Okay. Right. So when it comes to income statement, we have two columns basically. Is it visible? Okay. Can you switch off this? Where is the light? Okay. ಯಾರೊಬ್ರು ಕೇಳಿ ಎಲ್ಲಿಂದ. Okay. Now is it okay? So we have two things, particulars as well as amount. Okay. It's very simple, structure. When it comes to company, what is the first item which you get? The earnings. Where exactly it will generate? Through what? Through sales. Okay. Through sales, earnings will generate. Correct? When you are selling something, you must have to manufacture. Correct? That manufacturing happens in the company, and there are a lot of expenses. It will be like incurred on so and so product. Now, when it comes to expenses, basically, we have two types of expenses. What are all? Fixed expenses and variable expenses. Okay. So semi is considered to be in the other one, but basically speaking, fixed expenses and variable expenses. What is fixed expenses? Which is fixed irrespective of production levels. Okay. What is variable expenses? which varies with production. Correct? Normally, whenever you sell, the variable expenses are closely associated with certain product. So what we do? We do minus variable expenses. Okay? Sales minus variable cost or variable expenses, we say. When you reduce this, what you will get? You will get contribution. Yeah. So, okay, I'll try to answer doubts in case if I get any. Okay, good. So, sales minus variable cost, contribution. Now, this is considered to be a money which we call as like the profit which is available with that, but it is before making an expenses payment with reference to fixed. So, what we do? Minus fixed expenses. What we get? EBIT or PBIT or operating profit. EBIT, PBIT or operating profit. Okay. Now, earnings before interest and taxes or profit before interest and taxes or operating profit. Now, these two are important from the leverages point of view. Operating leverage, financial leverage and combined leverage. So, what is operating leverage? Contribution by sales. EBIT, financial leverage. EBIT by EBT. I mean combined leverage. That is one way. Another way, contribution by EBT. EBT. Okay, I'll write here. That is best. Operating leverage, contribution by EBIT. Financial leverage, EBIT by EBT. What is combined leverage? Contribution by EBT. Why contribution by EBT? Numerator and denominator gets cancelled. When you multiply operating leverage into financial leverage ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ numerator denominator EBIT cancel ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. Contribution by EBT. Now, operating leverage talks about something called, what it talks about? ನೋಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ, ಇಲ್ಲೇ ಇದೆ. ಇದೆರಡರ ಮಧ್ಯೆ ಏನಿದೆ? It talks about fixed expenses. Okay. Financial leverage talks about what? Which we discuss now. ನೋಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಈಗ. EBIT ಇಲ್ಲಿ what we have to deduct next? We have to pay interest. So interest on loan or whatever they say. So we have to pay interest. Once you deduct that, it becomes what? EBT or PBT. Profit after interest. Sorry, 1 minute. Oh, I've written already, right? No, it's not working. Anyway, so I'll just close it. Idu okay alla nimge gottaguttallva? I'll just go with it. So EBIT or PBIT adinda ಏನು minus ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ interest minus ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ it becomes something called EBT or PBT. Now I'll write interest here. Now, what is combined leverage? Contribution by EBT. It takes into consideration of what? Fixed expenses as well as interest expenses all together. Now my question to you is, this interest whatever we have written here, on what we pay? ಯಾವ್ದ್ರ ಮೇಲೆ ಪೇ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ ಇಲ್ಲಿ? Borrowed funds. It is on debentures or debt or any borrowed funds. So idra mele interest idre pay ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. Now assume like your capital structure is completely equity. Will you pay interest? So interest component will be 0. But will it be in advantageous or disadvantageous? Later we'll understand. Minus. You have to pay tax. It becomes what? Earnings after tax or profit after tax. Earnings after tax or profit after tax. Okay. Right. Now, there is an advantage. There is an advantage which we discuss when we have something called interest component. Adana aamel matadana. Next, after earnings after tax or profit after tax, what is the next item? In case if you have preference shares, you have to deduct something called preference dividend. Minus preference dividend. In case if your capital structure doesn't have preference shares, then this becomes 0. Okay. Finally, what you get? Earnings available to equity shareholders. Earnings available to equity shareholders. In case if your preference dividend is 0, this EAT becomes EAESH. Earnings available to equity shareholders. Clear? Now finally we calculate something called EPS. Earnings per share. What is the formula? Earnings available to equity shareholders divided by number of shares. Okay. Going forward, what you have to write? Number of outstanding shares. Earnings available to equity shareholders divided by number of shares, or we call it as number of outstanding shares. Okay. There is one thing called diluted earnings per share. Okay. Now, whenever we talk about diluted earnings per share, we have to remember that there are certain instruments which we call convertible debentures. What is convertible debentures? Which can be converted into equity shares after a certain period of time. When they convert, this EPS becomes DEPS, diluted earnings per share. Why it is diluted? Earlier it was 100 shares. Now because of convertible debentures, those debentures are converted into equity shares and 50 added. Now what happens to your earnings? Earnings earlier available only to 100 members. Now it is not 100, it is 1. Means your earnings are diluted to so many members who have been added. That is why we call it as diluted earnings per share. Same formula, but number of outstanding shares we write, because whenever we say outstanding, it is outstanding as on the day after all conversions. Okay, understood? Is it clear? So this is a simple income statement which we work on now on various problems that we have. Okay. Right. Okay, where is the exit? Anybody knows? I'll just check this. Okay, can you call someone? Okay, so income statement artha aitala. Now we'll just have a quick round off on leverages, then we'll go with income statement. Later we'll go with the problems. Okay, right. Thanks. Okay, so we have understood something called income statement. In that, we discussed two important points. One is income statement in detail and also then the leverages. So what are leverages basically? It's a mix of both debt and equity, a well composition with reference to debt and equity. Three types of leverages we have. What and all? Operating, financial, combined. What is operating leverage? Contribution by EBIT. That is not the meaning, but still, so you remember it in that way. But when it comes to operating leverage, it talks about the percentage of fixed expenses which impacts the business. Similarly, when it comes to financial leverage, what it talks about? It talks about the fixed expenses in the form of an interest. So how it impacts the business. And when it comes to combined leverage, it talks about fixed expenses in the form of expenses closely associated with sales and also interest which is associated with your business, right? So income statement we discussed. First point is sales minus variable cost. What you get? Minus what do you get? EBIT or PBIT or operating profit. What you deduct? Interest. What you get? EBT or PBT minus tax. What do you get? EAT or PAT minus preference dividend. What do you get? Earnings available to equity shareholders. So that is the end which gives a way to calculate EPS. What is EPS here? Earnings available to equity shareholders divided by number of shares provided. If you have something called convertible debentures, likewise you have something called outstanding shares where we use diluted earnings per share. Is it okay? Understood? Now we'll go to the problems. I think I've written it here. Okay, so there are two problems which they have given. One is in 2017, another one is in 2020. Okay, 2017 1B. Yes. Can you say this? Do you need to enlarge still? Oh, okay, yes. Okay, yeah. Right. We'll read this first, okay? Before getting into any problem for that matter, first make sure that you understood correctly. Then only you can be in a position to proceed. Now, whatever we are discussing now, problems that are closely associated with the income statement, what we discussed just now, okay? And also the patterns of capital structure, if you remember. Now I'll read. The company is having the equity capital of 10 lakhs divided into how many shares? 100 rupees per share. It wishes to raise 5 lakh for its expansion. As I told you, whenever you need an additional finance, you think of options. How much they require? How much they already have? That means after expansion, what is their total capital? 10 plus 5, 15. This is the first understanding. Okay. So first they had 10 lakhs. They wanted to expand. They would need around 5 lakhs. After expansion, it becomes 15 lakhs. That means your income will be diluted. Very easy to understand. Because earlier, there are only 10 lakh divided by 100. How many? 10,000 shares. Now, after adding 5 lakh, what it becomes? It may become 15,000, or if I go for composition, debt and equity, it varies. So that means your income will get diluted when you go for an expansion, and it depends on composition of patterns, whatever the patterns which you use. Expansion program, and it has identified 3 possible financial plan which are given below, right? Now, what is the first financial plan? Means entire 5 lakh equity shares only. Next one is what? 2 lakh 50 equity shares, 2 lakh 50 debentures. Now, whenever they say debentures, you are obligated to something. What is that? Interest. So where that interest will come? Income statement. Under income statement, where it will come? After EBIT. Clear? So 2,50,000 equity shares, 2,50,000 debentures. Similarly, third one, all are debt. All debt at 10%. That means what? You are obligated to what? Interest. Interest will come under what? Income statement. Under what? EBIT. You have to remember. Next. The company's EBIT is 3 lakhs. Have they given sales? If they have not given sales, no need to worry. So, if they have not given sales, no need to worry. If they have given EBIT, directly you can start from EBIT only. So, EBIT is how much? 3 lakh. Corporate tax rate is 50%. Where we get tax? After what? After paying interest, we have to deduct tax. Each case, give a comment as to which capital structure is suitable. So, which capital structure is suitable to whom? To owners or shareholders. For that, you have one certain mandatory thing to calculate. What is that? EPS. If EPS is good, that creates what? Wealth for shareholders. If EPS is bad, we say it is bad. Is it okay? Can we start this? Okay, so start working on it. Okay, so you start with working note. So how to clear all this off? Anybody knows an option? I think first day you have to help me. From tomorrow I'll learn. Oh, okay. That is actually better. Okay. All right, thanks. Yes. Okay, so start with working note. Okay, existing shares, how much we had? Sorry, existing capital we write. How much we had? 10 lakhs. Okay, existing capital 10 lakhs. What is per share value? Per share price is rupees 100. Per share price is rupees 100. Okay, if that is the case, existing shares, total number of shares will be, what we have to do? 10 lakhs divided by 100. Okay, so cancel 2 zeros. It is 10,000 shares. Okay, first step. Now, this 10,000 shares is constant for all the 3 options. Option 1 is what? Completely equity shares. Option 2 is what? Equity shares plus debentures or debt. Option 3 is what? Completely debt. Okay. 4, Oh, I didn't see. Okay, what is that 4th option? Okay, I'll just see. 4th option, preference shares plus equity. Okay, fine. 4 options, fine. I'll just see the problem again. Okay, equity shares, equity plus debentures, debentures are preference shares plus equity. For all, this 10,000 shares are constant. Okay, now whatever we are discussing here, this is for which part? 5 lakhs expansion. Got it? That is for 5 lakh expansion. Now, 10,000 shares. Understood? Now we write here working note 1. This is 1. And working note 2. expansion project or program we can write. Okay. How much we require? 5 lakhs we require. Right? How many options do we have? 4 options. What is the first option? All equity shares. So they have not stated per share how much it is. If that is the case, what we have to assume? We assume it as 100 rupees only. So if it is equity shares, how much it is totally? 5 lakh worth of equity shares we have to issue. Per share value is how much? 100 rupees. If that is the case, what will be the total number of shares? 5 lakh divided by 100. It is 5,000. Understood? 5 lakh we require through in the form of equity shares. 100 rupees we assume because they have not given anything. So total number of shares will be 500. But when I calculate EPS, the total number of outstanding shares will be 10,000 plus 5,000. It is outstanding 15,000. Now you understood? Right? Those values, whatever we have written there, it will not change because it will remain constant and stayed with the company. So here it is 5,000, 5,000 plus 10,000, 15,000. Now what is your second alternative? Okay, it is equity shares plus debt. Okay, so equity shares how much? 2.5 lakhs plus debt is 2.5 lakhs. Okay, I'll just switch over. What is the interest rate? Okay, 10%. Now, observe here. First, we calculate this part, equity shares. 2,50,000 means how much per share? 100 rupees. That means 2.5 lakhs divided by 100. How many shares? 2,500 shares. Correct? Understood? Now let me ask you, what is the total number of outstanding shares? Exactly. So outstanding shares will be 12,500. Right? Now, what is the second component? 2,50,000 debentures. What we are obligated to pay? Interest. How much we have to pay? 10%. So here only you calculate interest 2.5 lakhs into 10%. How much it will be? 25,000. Clear? Now, where this item will come? Income statement after EBIT. You have to remember that. Okay? Similarly, go to third one. It is completely debt, correct? Completely debt means how many? How much? 5 lakhs. So we write 5 lakhs. So it is 5 lakhs. Now, if I calculate debt for that matter, what is I'm obligated to? What I have to pay? Interest. So interest 5 lakh into, okay, what I have to see the percentage. Sure, 10% another? Right. So all debt it is 10%. So 5 lakhs into 10%. How much it is? 50,000. Now my question to you is, can I say equity shares nil? Equity shares here. Equity shares are nil, but outstanding shares are 10,000. Okay. In this option, equity shares are nil, but outstanding shares existing is considered to be 10,000, which we take here. Okay. And what is our fourth option? Preference shares plus equity, correct? Okay, so how much it is? Okay, 3 lakh equity, 2 lakh preference at 9%. Here 2 lakh, here it is 3 lakh, correct? Okay, I have written it ulta, so that's okay, can manage. First we take the part of equity shares and we complete. So 3 lakh equity shares means per share how much? 100 rupees. So 3 lakh divided by 100 rupees, it gives you how much? 3000 shares. 3000 shares. Okay, what if I call you to say number of outstanding shares? 13,000, exactly. So outstanding shares are 13,000. Okay. Second part is over. What is first part? Preference shares. How much dividend we have to give? 9% at 9%. So where preference dividend will come after what? After paying tax. EAT, earnings after tax, you have to pay preference dividend. How much we have to pay? 2 lakh into 9%, 18,000. Now, if your working note is strong, your table will be very easy. Okay. If your working note is not strong, your table goes messy. You know, a lot of mistakes will going to happen. So, understood all these points? Clear, everyone? Now, we'll go to the next one. And we say income statement. My straight line is not a straight, so please make sure that we'll adjust with it. God. Okay, how many plans do we have? Plan 1, plan 2, plan 3, and plan 4. So normally I should start with sales, but here sales are not given. So I'll start with EBIT. Now my question to you is, have they stated different EBITs? They have given only one EBIT, which is of 3 lakhs, which is common for all. So I'll write 3 lakhs. ನಾನು ಶಾರ್ಟ್ ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಬರ್ದಿರ್ತೀನಿ, ನೀವು ಬರ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. Because those zeros, if I round it off, it takes time. Okay. Now, for your understanding in a better way, you can write here, plan 1 consists of what only? Equity shares. Plan 2 consists of equity shares plus debentures. Plan 3 consists of debentures. Plan 4, equity shares plus preference shares. Okay. Now, what is the first item which we have to do? So as soon as we get the operating profit, we must make sure that we pay the interest. Correct? Now you people have to answer, where do I need to write and what do I need to write? First option, nil. Okay. Second option, 25,000. Where you have calculated this? Working note 2. Okay. You have calculated there. Third option, 50,000. Fourth option, nil. Why nil? Only equity plus preference shares, no debentures. So what do we get here? EBT. So it is 3 lakh, 2.75 lakhs, 2.5 lakhs, 3 lakhs. Clear? Okay. So what do we deduct then? Corporate tax at 50%, correct? %50. 3 lakh 50% is 1.5 lakh. 2 lakh 75,000 divided by 2, 1 lakh 37,500. Okay. 2.5 lakh, 1.25 lakhs. 3 lakh, 1.5 lakhs. So what do you call this as? EAT. So it is 1.5, 137,500, 125, 1.5. Okay. Next is what? Preference dividend. Preference dividend. First option, nil. Second option, nil. Third option, fourth one, 18,000. So what do you call ultimately as? Earnings available to equity shareholders. 1.5 lakhs, 1,37,500, 1,25,000, 1,32,000. Correct? Now your final formula, EPS equal to earnings available to equity shareholders divided by number of outstanding shares. Number of outstanding shares. Okay. Now your working note helps a lot here. Okay. So here 1.5 lakhs divided by, first option is C. Okay, how many? 15,000 shares. Okay. Yeah. What is the answer? 10 rupees per share. Correct? 1,50,000 divided by 15,000, 10 rupees per share. Similarly, 1,37,500 divided by how many shares? 12,500. How much you get? Okay. 11 rupees per share. Next, 1,25,000 divided by 10,000 shares. How much you get? 12.5 per share. And the final one, 1,32,000 divided by how many? 13,000. Okay, how much you get? 10.15 per share. Okay, what was the question? Give a comment as to which capital structure is suitable. So based on what you decide? EPS. EPS of first option is 10, second one 11, third one 12.5, and the fourth one is 10.15. Which one is better? Third plan is considered to be the better plan. Now my question to you, third plan is completely debt. That means I am going for loan. Why it is better compared to other options? We get something called tax. So the advantage of tax is considered to be the 1 point, which makes somewhat like better when you go for debt. That is why earnings per share is considered to be of 12.5 here. Okay. So this is how you complete a problem. Done? Can we go to next one? And the next one is in 2020 problem number 5. Yes. Okay, visible? Now I'll just read. This is a bit complicated, so not so easy. The thing is, you have to understand the problem very well in order to do it. XY Limited needs 10 lakh for establishment of a new factory. Here, it is not the old one. It is completely the new one which they wanted to establish. How much they require? 10 lakhs. The new factory is expected to yield an annual EBIT of 1,60,000. That means your EBIT is 1,60,000, which is fixed. Okay. In choosing a financial plan, XY Limited has an objective of maximizing earnings per share. That means what is your objective? You have to see to it that whichever the alternative which we calculate here, that must has to increase what? Earnings per share over a period of time. It is considering the possibility of issuing equity shares and raising debt. That means combination of two. What and all? Equity shares plus raising debt of rupees 1 lakh, 4 lakh and 6 lakhs. In the sense, if I say 1 lakh is your equity share, 9 lakh will be debt. If I say 4 lakh is your debt, 6 lakh will be equity. If I say 6 lakh is your debt, 4 lakh will be equity. It is like that. The current market price per share is rupees 25. What was the market price per share earlier? Last problem, 100 rupees. Now it is how much? 25 rupees. Moving on, is expected to drop to 20. That means the price of the share from 25 to 20 only when if the funds are borrowed in excess of 5 lakhs. Means if you borrow more than that, your market price per share will fall to 20 rupees. Now check 3 options. How many options do we have? 1, 4 as well as 6. If I say my equity shares are 1 lakh, what will be the debt? 9 lakhs. That means you are crossing. You are crossing this condition because your funds are more than 5 lakhs. That means what will be your equity share value? From 25 to 20. Second option, if you see, what is your equity share? 4 lakh. What is your debentures? 6 lakh. Are we crossing? Yes. If that is the case, what is our equity share? From 25 to 20. What is the third one? 6 lakh. 6 lakh equity shares means how many debentures? 4. That means are we crossing? No. That means what is our equity share? 25. It can be understood in different ways. When we write plans, we'll get to know. I'm just explaining now. So funds can be borrowed at the rates indicated below. So up to 1 lakh, you will pay how much? 8%. Over 1 lakh to 5 lakh, you pay 12%. And over 5 lakhs, you pay 18%. Assume tax rates are 50%. Determine the EPS for the 3 financial alternatives. Shall we start? Okay. Yes. Take it. Okay. So working note 1. Okay. How much we require totally? 10 lakhs, correct? Yeah. we require 10 lakhs. So basically it has 3 different plans. Okay. In all 3 plans, we have only equity shares plus debentures or debt. Do we have preference shares anywhere? No. Okay. Now just check here. It is considering the possibility of issuing equity shares and raising of debt. So whatever they have given, raising of debt of, that means all these values are debt values. Okay. 1, 4 and 6. Okay. Here I write 1 lakh. Here I'll write 4 lakh. Here I'll write 6 lakhs. Okay. 1, 4 as well as 6. If I write 1 lakh here, how much will be the equity? Okay. How much it will be here? 6 lakhs. How much it will be here? 4 lakh. Right? Now, we'll go with first condition now. What is the first condition? The current market price is rupees 25 and is expected to drop to 20 if the funds borrowed is in excess of 5 lakhs. Check that condition first. Where and all you can see borrowings more than 5 lakhs. Illi 1 lakh ide, illi 4 lakh ide, only 6 lakh ide. That means it is only at the last where it is 6 lakhs. So how much do I need to write here? Per share, it is 20. Okay na? Illi raise agidya? Illa. So it is per share how much? 25. Here per share how much? 25. That's why I told you when we write table, we'll get the clarity. Okay. So 25, 25, 20. Why it is 20? Because your debt is crossed 5 lakhs. Now, after this, what we have to calculate immediately? Number of shares. Number of shares. So it is 9 lakh divided by 25. How much? 36,000. Huh? 36,000 shares. Okay. Next one. 6 lakhs divided by 25. 24,000. Next, 4 lakh divided by 20, it is 20,000. Huh? Okay. 20,000. Clear? We calculated this. But this 1 lakh, 4 lakh and 6 lakh attracts what? Interest. So we don't have fixed interest here. We have certain conditions. So what are all the conditions? Let's go here. Up to 1 lakh, 8%. 1 lakh to 5 lakh, 12%. More than 5 lakh, 18%. So now, check our problem. Up to 1 lakh, where we have taken? First option. Up to 1 lakh. How much do we need to pay? At 8%. Illi, actually speaking, problem nalli ಏನು ಮಾಡಬೇಕಿತ್ತಂದ್ರೆ 1 lakh ಅಂತ ಕೊಟ್ಟು 1 lakh 1 ಇಂದ ಅಂತ ಕೊಡಬೇಕಿತ್ತು. So ಆ ತರ ಕೊಟ್ರೆ it will be easy to understand. But here you can consider the first one only. Because ನಾವು ಯಾವಾಗಲೂ ಪ್ರೋಗ್ರೆಸಿವ್ ಅಂತ ನೋಡಿದಾಗ ಇದು 1 lakh 1 ಅಂತಾನೆ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. Okay. Okay. So go back. We have written 8%. Correct? Next. Next borrowing ಎಷ್ಟಿದೆ ನಮ್ದು? Sorry. Borrowing ಎಷ್ಟಿದೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ? 4 lakh ಇದೆ. We'll see the problem. 1 lakh to 5 lakh, it is 12%. That means how much do we need to write now? Illi at 12%. Okay. What is our third one? More than 5 lakhs, it is 18%. So here it is 18%. So calculate and tell me how much it is. 8,000 interest, 48,000 interest, 90, 1,08,000, 1,08,000. ಕೊಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಅದೇ ಇದು ಕಾನ್ಸ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಇರೋದು ಕೊಡ್ಬೋದು, ಚೇಂಜ್ ಆಗೋದು ಕೊಡ್ಬೋದು. ಎನಿಥಿಂಗ್ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಗಿವ್. ಮೆನ್ಷನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಈ ತರ ಮೆನ್ಷನ್ ಮಾಡಿನೇ ಕೊಡಬೇಕು. ಸೊ ಮೆನ್ಷನ್ ಮಾಡದೆ ಕೊಡಲ್ಲ. ನಾರ್ಮಲಿ ಸ್ಪೀಕಿಂಗ್ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಇಂಟ್ರೆಸ್ಟ್ ನ ಕಾಮನ್ ಕೊಟ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ರೇಂಜ್ ಕೊಡ್ಬೋದು. ಈಗ ಇಂಟ್ರೆಸ್ಟ್ ರೇಟ್ ಇಸ್ 12%, ಬಟ್ ಇಟ್ ರೇಂಜಸ್ ಬಿಟ್ವೀನ್ ದೀಸ್ ಟು ಅಂತ ಕೊಡ್ಬೋದು. ಅಥವಾ ಎಲ್ಲಾ ರೇಂಜ್ಗೂ ಡಿಫ್ರೆಂಟ್ ಇಂಟ್ರೆಸ್ಟ್ ರೇಟ್ ಕೂಡ ಕೊಡ್ಬೋದು. ಇಟ್ ಆಲ್ ಡಿಪೆಂಡ್ಸ್. ಬಟ್ ಯು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಗೋ ಥ್ರೂ ದ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ಇನ್ ಡೀಟೇಲ್. ಓದಿದ್ಮೇಲೆ ನಮಗೆ ಕರೆಕ್ಟಾಗಿ ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗೋದು, ಅಲ್ಲಿ ತನಕ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗಲ್ಲ. ಯು ಮೈಟ್ ಬಿ ಹ್ಯಾವಿಂಗ್ ದಿಸ್ ಕ್ವಶನ್, ಸರ್ ಈಗ ಇನ್ ಕೇಸ್ 6 lakhs ಅಂತ ಇದ್ದಾಗ ನಾವು ಸ್ಲ್ಯಾಬ್ ವೈಸ್ ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಕಾಗತ್ತೆ. ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ 1 lakh ವರೆಗೂ ಹೌ ಮಚ್ ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ 8%. ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ 1 lakh to 5 lakh ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅನದರ್ 4 lakh ಗೆ 12%. ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ 1 lakh ಗೆ 18%. ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಇಮ್ಯಾಜಿನ್. ಸೊ ಇಲ್ಲೇನಾಗತ್ತೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಇನ್ಸ್ಟೆಡ್ ಆಫ್ ಪೇಯಿಂಗ್, ಈಗ ನಾನೀಗ ಈ ಒಂದು ಕ್ಯಾಟಗರಿ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ತಗೊಂಡ್ರೆ ಹೌ ಮಚ್ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಪೇಡ್ 1,08,000 ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಪೇಡ್. ಇದನ್ನ ಡಿಫ್ರೆಂಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಹೋಯ್ತು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ 8,000 ಅಲ್ಲ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ 8,000, then 24,000, correct? 48,000. Here how much I get? No, 1 lakh only, 18,000. So add up 18, 48 plus 8, 58, 68, 66, 74,000. I'll be paying only this much. ಕರೆಕ್ಟಾ? 74,000 ಮಾತ್ರ ಪೇ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಯಾವಾಗ ಸ್ಲ್ಯಾಬ್ ವೈಸ್ ಹೋದ್ರೆ ಈ ತರನು ಕ್ಯಾಲ್ಕುಲೇಷನ್ಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು, ಆ ತರ ಕೂಡ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು, ಪ್ರೊವೈಡೆಡ್ ಇಫ್ ದೇ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ಲಿ ಇನ್ ದಿ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್. ಸೊ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನಮ್ಗೆ ರೇಂಜ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ವಿ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಡೂ ಲೈಕ್ ದಿಸ್, ನೋ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್. ಇನ್ ಕೇಸ್ ಇಫ್ ದೇ ಸೇ ಸ್ಲ್ಯಾಬ್ ವೈಸ್ ಯು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಕ್ಯಾಲ್ಕುಲೇಟ್, ದೆನ್ ಯು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಕ್ಯಾಲ್ಕುಲೇಟ್ ಲೈಕ್ ದಿಸ್. Because whenever we say slab, we have to go by the slab rates only. Example, ನಾವೇನಾದ್ರೂ 8 lakhs ಅಂತ ಕೊಟ್ರೆ, ಸೊ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಾ? 1 lakh 8%, 4 lakh 12%, and again 3 lakhs 18%. ಓಕೆ, ಡೈರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಕ್ಯಾಲ್ಕುಲೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ? 8 lakhs at 18% ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. ಓಕೆನಾ? ಸೊ ಇಟ್ ಆಲ್ ಡಿಪೆಂಡ್ಸ್. ಸೊ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಸ್ಲ್ಯಾಬ್ ವೈಸ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಅಥವಾ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ, ಹೆಂಗ್ ಕೊಡ್ತಾರೋ ಅದ್ರ ಬೇಸಿಸ್ ಮೇಲೆ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು. ರೈಟ್? ಸೊ ಅಂಡರ್ಸ್ಟುಡ್? ನೌ ವಿಲ್ ರೈಟ್ ಇನ್ಕಮ್ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್. ಇನ್ಕಮ್ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್. ನಾರ್ಮಲಿ ಆ ಕ್ಯಾಲ್ಕುಲೇಷನ್ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬರುತ್ತೆ, ಆ ತರ ಕ್ಯಾಲ್ಕುಲೇಷನ್ಸ್ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ. Particulars, plan 1, plan 2, and plan 3. So what is EBIT? 1,60,000, correct? Now, what is the next item? Minus interest. So, what is the first alternative? 8,000. Okay. Second, 48,000. 1,08,000. So, what do you get? EBT 1,52,000. 1,12,000. 52,000 ಮೈನಸ್ ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್. ಎಷ್ಟಿದೆ ರೇಟ್ ಅದು? ಓಕೆ, 50%. So 1,52,000 divided by 2, 76. Okay, then 56, and then this is 26. Okay, so earnings after tax. Okay, do we have preference dividend? No, if that is the case, what do you call this? As earnings available to equity shareholders. So EPS equal to earnings available to equity shareholders divided by number of outstanding shares. Yeah, 76,000 divided by how much it is? 36,000. Okay. Second one, 56,000 divided by 24,000. Third one, 26,000 divided by 20,000. 2.1 per share, 2.3 per share, 1.3 per share. Right? So now which one is better? Second option. What is the second option composition? How much equity, how much debt? 6 lakh equity plus 4 lakh dividend or debt. Debentures or debt, sorry. Debentures or debt. That means if you see, after working out two problems, it is not like completely equity shares nor like completely debt. It is the composition of both equity as well as debentures increases what? Increases earnings per share. That is the final verdict of this. Understood? Easy. So similar problems you can find it in Shashi K. Gupta. So financial management, Shashi K. Gupta. You can find problems there, or any financial management or advanced financial management book. For complex problems, you can refer Khan and Jain, reference book, Khan and Jain. Shashi K. Gupta, Khan and Jain, reference book. That book is somewhat like a Bible in terms of financial management. It's around 600 to 700 pages. Okay. Now, understood? Problem? So we have discussed all together all these points along with the problems on capital structure. Now what we do is, today we discussed capital structure. Tomorrow we will see what are different types of cost of equities, cost of debentures, cost of preference shares, and how theories are made. Example, your traditional approach, then net income approach, net operating income approach, Modigliani and Miller approach, likewise. And after this, we go to something called capital budgeting. And there we understand PBP, NPV, IRR, all those techniques in detail. Finally, we will get into capital market hypothesis. That is understanding Harry Markowitz's portfolio theory as well as Sharpe index measures. So all this put together, we're going to give you the complete picture of how exactly finance concepts are taken into consideration. Understood? Any doubt? Any doubt? Online participants, if you have anything, please let me know. So slab interest rates need to be taken. Okay. Slab interest rates provided if they mention in the problem, then you can take. Otherwise, you can just go with the slab which they have given. I mean range which they have given. No need to worry about it. Okay, Ashwath, doubt. If you have any doubt, let me know. So you can mention the doubt or query if you wanted to. Okay, yeah. Any doubts from your side? Any clarifications if you need, let me know. We still have 10 minutes of time. So within that, we'll try to round it off. Yeah. Any doubts? Anybody? Yes, ಹೇಳಿ. ಇಲ್ಲ, ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ಸ್ ಏನು ಆ ಥರ ಏನಿಲ್ಲ. ಇಂಗ್ಲೀಷ್ ಬರೀಬೋದು, ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ ಬರೀಬೋದು. ಬಟ್ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂಸ್ ನೀವು ಹೆಂಗಿದ್ರು ಒಂದೇ ತಾನೇ ಬರೆಯೋದು. ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾತ್ರ ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ ಬರೆಯಕ್ಕೆ ಹೋಗ್ರಿ ಅಷ್ಟೇ. ನೆಸಸರಿ ಮಾಡಲೇಬೇಕು. ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ನಿಮಗೆ ವರ್ಕಿಂಗ್ ನೋಟ್ ಮಾಡದೆ ಹೋದ್ರೆ ಆ ಮೈನ್ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮೇ ಬರಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ ವರ್ಕಿಂಗ್ ನೋಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ. ಅಂಡ್ ಮೋರ್ ಓವರ್ ನೀವೆಷ್ಟು ನೀಟಾಗಿ ಬರೀತೀರಾ ಅಷ್ಟು ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ನಿಮಗೆ ಮಾರ್ಕ್ಸ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. So basically speaking, whenever we value, we see the answer booklets, how we have written. So neat ಆಗಿ ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಚರ್ ಆಗಿ ಬರ್ದಿದ್ರೆ ಈಸಿಯಾಗಿ ಕೊಟ್ಬಿಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಈಗ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ ಮಾಡೋರು ಹುಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಕೂತ್ಕೊಂಡ್ರೆ ಆನ್ಸರ್ನ ಅವ್ರು ಹುಡ್ಕಲ್ಲ, ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಕಳ್ಕೊಂಡು ಹೋಗ್ತಿರ್ತಾರೆ ಅಷ್ಟೇ. ಓಕೆ, ಎಸ್. ಸಿ ಹಿಯರ್ ಇಟ್ ಡಿಪೆಂಡ್ಸ್ ಅಗೇನ್. ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್, ಈಗ ನಾನು ಅದನ್ನ ಈ ತರ ಹೇಳ್ತೀನಿ. I wanted to make an investment in stock market. I don't have money. I borrow from Bank of Baroda. Ile ಕೆಳಗಡೆ ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ, ಇಲ್ಲೇ ಹೋಗಿ ತಗೊಂಡ್ಬಂದ್ಬಿಡ್ತೀನಿ ಅನ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. 1 ಲಕ್ಷ ತಗೊಂಡ್ಬಂದು I have invested in stock market. I hope that I'll going to get a returns within a span of 1 month. Unfortunately, 1 lakh becomes 10 rupees. 1 lakh invest ಮಾಡಿದ್ದು 10 ರೂಪಾಯಿ ಆಗ್ಬಿಟ್ಟಿದೆ. So it is like completely lost. Now what I did is I thought I'll going to make money by using others' money. But what happened? I lost it. ಇದನ್ನ ನಾನು ಶಾರ್ಟ್ ಟರ್ಮ್ ಅಂತಾನೆ ಹೇಳಕ್ಕಾಗಲ್ಲ. ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಮೈ ಇಂಟೆನ್ಷನ್ ಹಿಯರ್ ಈಸ್ ಟು ಮೇಕ್ ಅನ್ ಇನ್ವೆಸ್ಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಇನ್ ಸ್ಟಾಕ್ ಮಾರ್ಕೆಟ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಐ ಲಾಸ್ಟ್ ಇಟ್. ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್, ಲಾಟರಿ ಟಿಕೆಟ್ ಪರ್ಚೇಸ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. ನಾಳೆನೇ ಇದೆ, ಲಾಟರಿ ಟಿಕೆಟ್ ಅನೌನ್ಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಐ ಬಾರೋಡ್ 10 lakhs ವರ್ತ್ ಆಫ್ ಮನಿ ಫ್ರಮ್ ಮೈ ಓನ್ ಸೋರ್ಸ್. ಇನ್ವೆಸ್ಟೆಡ್ ಎವ್ರಿಥಿಂಗ್ ಇನ್ ಈಚ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಎವ್ರಿ ಲಾಟರಿ ಟಿಕೆಟ್. ಅನ್ಫಾರ್ಚುನೇಟ್ಲಿ ನಾನು ಬೈ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದು ಯಾವುದು ಬಂದೇ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಎವ್ರಿಥಿಂಗ್ ಈಸ್ ಲಾಸ್ಟ್. ನಾವು ಅಸ್ಯೂಮ್ ಲೈಕ್ ಇವನ್ ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಮೈ ಮನಿ, ಯಾರೋ ಒಬ್ರು ಎಲ್ಲಿಂದನೋ ಸೇವ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದು ಅಥವಾ ಬೇರೆಯವ್ರು ಕೊಟ್ಟಿರೋದೆಲ್ಲ ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದೀನಿ. ಐ ಯೂಸ್ ದಟ್ ಮನಿ ಫಾರ್ ಸಮ್ ಅದರ್ ಪರ್ಪಸ್ ವೇರ್ ಇನ್ ವಿಚ್ ಐ ಲಾಸ್ಟ್ ಇಟ್. ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಕಂಪ್ಲೀಟ್ಲಿ ಗಾನ್. ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ಥಿಂಗ್, ಸೊ ಆಫ್ಟರ್ ಅಂಡರ್ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡಿಂಗ್ ದೀಸ್ 2 points, ವಿಲ್ ಗೋ ವಿತ್ ದ ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್ ನಾವು. ಅಸ್ಯೂಮ್ ಲೈಕ್ ಐ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟೇಕನ್ ಮನಿ ಫಾರ್ ದಿ ಪರ್ಪಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪಾನ್ಷನ್. ಯಾವುದೋ ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪಾನ್ಷನ್ಗೆ ಅಂತ ತಗೊಂಡೆ, ಬಟ್ ನನ್ನ ಮಗಳಿಗೆ ಅಥವಾ ಯಾರಿಗೋ ಒಬ್ಬರಿಗೆ ಕಾರ್ ಕೊಡಿಸ್ಬಿಟ್ಟೆ. ವಾಟ್ ಐ ಡಿಡ್ ಹಿಯರ್, leverage buyouts, in the sense the purpose was to expand business, but I used that money for the purpose of personal or whatever it is. What happened here, illi earnings enu bartilla, because car purchase madmele car inda earnings heng barutte? Car inda earnings baralla, because we purchased for own purpose. So in the sense, what I am trying to say, it all depends on the way in which you try to use. Whether you use it for business or use it for personal purpose or use it for some other purpose, it matters. And it will not be classified as either short term or considered to be long term, because the very dependent thing in terms of like understanding leverage buyout is where you use. That is what matters. ಈಗ ನಾವು the great Vijay Mallya na ತಗೊಂಡ್ರೆ, so what Vijay Mallya did, he borrowed funds from all the sources. He invested lots of money on certain investment or business. He lost over a period of time. He couldn't be in a position to pay back. Ultimately ಗೊತ್ತಾಗಿದ್ದೇನು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ, ಅದು ಅವನ ದುಡ್ಡು ಅಂತ ನಾವೆಲ್ಲ ಅನ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದು, ಬಟ್ ಅವನ ದುಡ್ಡು ಅಲ್ಲ ಅದು. ಅದು ನಾವಿಟ್ಟಿರೋ ದುಡ್ಡೇ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕಲ್ಲಿ ಇದ್ದಿದ್ದು. ಸೊ ಇನ್ ದ ಸೆನ್ಸ್, ವಾಟ್ ಐ ಆಮ್ ಟ್ರೈಂಗ್ ಟು ಸೇ ಇಸ್ how best you will going to use the money, on what purpose you use money. But you classify either it as a short term or long term, depends on your wish or the way of business which you do. Yeah. Okay, any other? ಯಾವ್ದಕ್ಕೆ ಸರ್? Yes, interpretation goes like this. When you are having a problem like that, so they'll ask you which one is better, So as per the table, income statement you have to write. As per the income statement, plan 1 is so and so, plan 2 is so and so, plan 3 is so and so, and plan 4 is so and so. After comparing EPS, EPS of 4 options, plan 2 found better. Plan 2 found better, and it can be taken into consideration. That's all. Okay. Any other? Are we done? Okay. Thank you. Okay, so they had one question which I wanted to answer. Okay, the question is on, okay, they have considered slab rate in textbook itself. See, remember, whenever you have textbooks, there are textbooks of various types. Example, few of them have written only for a semester. Few of them have written for the purpose of reference like that. So everyone will do according to their wish and interpretation. Either you can do on slab rate also, or you can do on the range basis also. Normally, practice wise, whenever we look at reference books for that matter, they do on range base. ಏನು ರೇಂಜ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿರ್ತಲ್ಲ ಅದ್ರ ಬೇಸಲ್ಲೇ ಮಾಡಿರ್ತಾರೆ. Even if you wanted to do on slab rate also, no problem. Because your interpretation matters. ಅಥವಾ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ನಲ್ಲಿ ಯು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಕ್ಯಾಲ್ಕುಲೇಟ್ ಆನ್ ಸ್ಲ್ಯಾಬ್ ಬೇಸಿಸ್ ಅಂತ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ರೆ ಡೆಫಿನೆಟ್ಲಿ ಯು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಕ್ಯಾಲ್ಕುಲೇಟ್ ಆನ್ ಸ್ಲ್ಯಾಬ್ ಬೇಸಿಸ್ ಓನ್ಲಿ. ಕ್ಲಿಯರಾ? ಸೊ ಇನ್ ಕೇಸ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಹೌ ಯು ಇಂಟರ್ಪ್ರೆಟ್. ಆನ್ ದಟ್ ಬೇಸಿಸ್ ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಗಿವ್ ಎ ಕ್ವೆಶ್ಚನ್ ಟು ಇಟ್. ಬೋತ್ ಆಫ್ ದೆಮ್ ಆರ್ ಕನ್ಸಿಡರ್ಡ್ ಟು ಬಿ ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್. ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ರಾಂಗ್. ಓಕೆನಾ? ಒಂದು. ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ಥಿಂಗ್, questions are for what marks? Okay. How much it is? 30 ala? Okay, it is for 30. 30 and 60, I guess there are range. Okay. I think online they have participated well. Sorry, I'm unable to track it. Okay, we'll see to it that. So tomorrow we will track along with the session. Sir, amount difference. Yes, there is an amount difference. So slab ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ difference ಇರುತ್ತೆ, and ನಿಮಗೆ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿ ರೇಂಜ್ ತಗೊಂಡಾಗ difference ಇರುತ್ತೆ. We agree. So it is a difference. Only finance. Finance ಮಾತ್ರ ನಾನು ಮಾಡೋದಷ್ಟೇ. ಅದು ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಬೇರೆ ಮಾಡಕ್ ಹೋಗಲ್ಲ. So other problems, other professor or lecturer will come and please give more problems to solve. Okay, so I'll try to get problems. In case if it is not possible, ನಾನು ಆಗ್ಲೇ ಹೇಳ್ದಂಗೆ ಶಶಿಕೆ ಗುಪ್ತಾ, ಅದಾದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಖಾನ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಚೈನ್, ಈ ಎರಡು ಬುಕ್ ನ ರೆಫರ್. ವೆಬ್ಸೈಟ್ ನೀವು ಗೂಗಲ್ಗೆ ಹೋಗಿ ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಸ್ವಾಮಿನಾಥ್ ಎಸ್ ಅಂತ ಟೈಪ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ, ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಸ್ವಾಮಿನಾಥ್ ಎಸ್ ಪ್ಲಸ್ ಗೂಗಲ್ ಸೈಟ್ ಅಂತ ಟೈಪ್ ಮಾಡಿ. ಸ್ವಾಮಿನಾಥ್ ಎಸ್ ಏನಪ್ಪ ಅದು ನೇಮ್ ಕರೆಕ್ಟಾಗಿ ಹೇಳ್ಬಿಡ್ಬೇಕು, ಇಲ್ಲಾಂದ್ರೆ ತಮಿಳು ತೆಲುಗು ಎಲ್ಲ ಮಿಕ್ಸ್ ಮಾಡೋದು. ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಸ್ವಾಮಿನಾಥ್ ಎಸ್ ಪ್ಲಸ್ ಗೂಗಲ್ ಸೈಟ್ ಅಂತ ಟೈಪ್ ಮಾಡಿ. ಸೊ ಗೂಗಲ್ ಸೈಟ್ ಓಪನ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಮೆಟೀರಿಯಲ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ ಹೋಗಿ, ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಯು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಲಾಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಮೆಟೀರಿಯಲ್ಸ್ ವಿಚ್ ಐ ಪ್ರಿಪೇರ್ಡ್ ಫಾರ್ ಪೋಸ್ಟ್ ಗ್ರಾಜುಯೇಷನ್ ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ಸ್. ಸೊ ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಅಡ್ವಾನ್ಸ್ ಫೈನಾನ್ಷಿಯಲ್ ಮ್ಯಾನೇಜ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಡೌನ್ಲೋಡ್, ಅಂಡ್ ಆಲ್ ದೋಸ್ ಕಾನ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ಗಿವನ್ ಇನ್ ಡೀಟೇಲ್. ಸೊ ಇಲ್ಲೇ ಇಂಟರ್ನೆಟ್ ಇದೆಯಾ? Is it connected? ಬೇಸ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. Wait, 1 minute. Different things here. ಯಾರಿಗಾದ್ರು ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಮೆಟೀರಿಯಲ್ಸ್ ಅಂತಿದೆ, ಸ್ಟಡಿ ಮೆಟೀರಿಯಲ್ಸ್ ಅಂತಿದೆ, ಅದನ್ನು ಓಪನ್ ಮಾಡಿ. ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ನಿಮಗೆ ಡಿಫ್ರೆಂಟ್ ಇರೋ ಐ ಥಿಂಕ್ ಐ ಗಾಟ್ ಇಟ್. So these are all the things which I have. So ನೋಡಿ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಕಾಣುತ್ತೆ ಈ ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಮಾರ್ಕೆಟಿಂಗ್, ಸೈಬರ್ ನಾನು ಯಾವುದೇ ಪ್ರಿಪೇರ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೆ ಐ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಅಪ್ಲೋಡೆಡ್ ಎವ್ರಿಥಿಂಗ್. So you can download all this. ಮ್ಯಾನೇಜ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಅಕೌಂಟಿಂಗ್ ಇದೆ, ಸೆಕ್ಯೂರಿಟಿ ಅನಾಲಿಸಿಸ್, ಪೋರ್ಟ್ಫೋಲಿಯೋ ಮ್ಯಾನೇಜ್ಮೆಂಟ್, ಇನ್ವೆಸ್ಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಅನಾಲಿಸಿಸ್, ನೋಡಿ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಫೈನಾನ್ಷಿಯಲ್ ಮ್ಯಾನೇಜ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಇದೆ, ಅಡ್ವಾನ್ಸ್ ಫೈನಾನ್ಷಿಯಲ್ ಮ್ಯಾನೇಜ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಇದೆ, ಕಮಾಡಿಟಿ ಮಾರ್ಕೆಟ್ ಇದೆ, ಸ್ಟಾಕ್ ಮಾರ್ಕೆಟ್ ಇದೆ, ಫೈನಾನ್ಷಿಯಲ್ ಸರ್ವಿಸಸ್ ಮ್ಯಾನೇಜ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಇದೆ, ಇಂಡಿಯನ್ ಫೈನಾನ್ಷಿಯಲ್ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್, ಪ್ರಿನ್ಸಿಪಲ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್ ಮ್ಯಾನೇಜ್ಮೆಂಟ್, ರಿಸ್ಕ್ ಮ್ಯಾನೇಜ್ಮೆಂಟ್. Here whatever I prepared and everything is free, ಯಾರಿಗೂ ಅಷ್ಟೊಂದು ಚಾರ್ಜಸ್ ಇಲ್ಲ. You can download everything because I did it when I was in university, Bangalore University, for students. ಅವಾಗೇನಂದ್ರೆ ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಲೈಕ್ ನ್ಯೂ ಟೈಮ್, ಐ ಮೀನ್ ಇನ್ ದ ಸೆನ್ಸ್ ಕೆಲವು ಸಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ಸ್ನ ಹೊಸದಾಗಿ ಇಂಟ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡೋದು, ಲೈಕ್ ರಿಸ್ಕ್ ಮ್ಯಾನೇಜ್ಮೆಂಟ್, ಕಾರ್ಪೊರೇಟ್ ಫೈನಾನ್ಷಿಯಲ್ ರಿಪೋರ್ಟಿಂಗ್ ಎಲ್ಲ. ಆವಾಗ ಯಾರಿಗೂ ನೋಟ್ಸ್ ಇರಲಿಲ್ಲ, ಯಾರ ಹತ್ರ ಇರಲಿಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ ಐ ವಾಸ್ ದಿ ಒನ್ ಹೂ ಪ್ರಿಪೇರ್ಡ್. ಇವಾಗಲೂ ಆ ನೋಟ್ಸ್ ಇದೆ, ಒಂಥರ ವಾಟರ್ ಮಾರ್ಕ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ ನೋಡಿ, ಸ್ವಾಮಿನಾಥ್ ಹೆಸರು ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಇನ್ ಕೇಸ್ ಇಫ್ ಯು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಫೌಂಡ್ ದಟ್, ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಮೀ ಓನ್ಲಿ. ಚೆಕ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ.